Hey everybody, it's Christopher and I'm with Doug Kibby, the city manager for the city of Clifton. Super excited because that's our hometown. So Doug Kibby, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself as city manager.
Well, I've been the city manager since 29th of September 2016. It's been a whole lot of fun for the last 8 years. Not really, but it's come a long way as a city. But I originally grew up in a little town called Portland, Tennessee, which is just north of Nashville. And I spent my days all the way through high school from like 1 year old up until 18. July 7th of 2000 and, of 1982. I raised my hand and said I'd support defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, at the Naval Academy. I went through the little summer routine they have there, and I graduated in '86. Went to flight school. I was a helicopter pilot, and did that most of my operational side of it. And then after you get older, they stop let you flying, and you start doing things that I'm doing right now. It's just pushing paper. There's a lot of stuff that gets done, but there's also a lot of paper involved. So that seems to be my day-to-day operations, and I call it pushing paper because things have to get signed, things have to get mailed, websites updated, you name it. It's just a lot of strings involved when you're talking about it.
So the city of Clifton has a manager, but it also has a mayor. It also has a vice mayor. It has commissioners. How does that differ from, say, a town like Saltillo that they don't have a city manager, but they do have a mayor and they do have commissioners?
Well, there's 4 separate charters that are approved by the state assembly. There's a city manager board of commissioner charter, which is what the city of Clifton is under, and the majority of all the cities in the state. So I think there's like 173 total that are under the city manager commissioner charter. You also have a charter. There's a private act charter. Well, you know what? We don't like our city charter. We're going to change it because in order to do that, you have to get at least the majority, or at least half, or actually I take that back, 51% of the other cities to go along with that. So our city charter hasn't changed for a long time because basically it works by the way it's set up. Ours is different in the fact that we have 5 members that get elected by the citizens of Clifton, but they're not elected as a mayor, they're not elected as a vice mayor. They're just elected as a commissioner. And every 2 years when we have our election, the commissioners will make motions to decide who's going to be the mayor and who's going to be the vice mayor. And the roles and responsibilities of mayor and vice mayor are pretty small in what you would think of the normal mayor running the town. Ours basically is on the board. And the board looks at different things like resolutions and ordinances and things that are policy related to the city, budget related, getting grants, not getting grants, applying for stuff like that. That's all handled in the boardroom. But when it comes to the day-to-day operation of the city, everything is in a city manager commissioner charter. Everything is run by the city. That includes the hiring and firing, the fire chief, the city attorney, the judge. Everything operates under me as far as running the day-to-day operations. The board of commissioners provides oversight. So if there's something I'm doing, they think I should be doing something different, then they will let me know. It's at my discretion when it comes to that. I can either change your advice or not take this. And oftentimes they do not. They're not good people or they want to have good things out of Clifton. It's just sometimes they don't necessarily have all the information they think they need to make a decision. And a lot of that stuff I see it day to day, and like I said, I'm personally pushing it and try to keep the state off of our backs when it comes to how we operate as a city.
So it's a really small town here in Clifton. How many people would you say live here?
The official census was 2,651. 1,900 of those are about 700-ish people. So you would think we're a big city, but we're not. But we have a big population in the prisons, which is 82% of our water, sewer, and gas business, which is nice because 82% of my water, sewer, and gas customers always pay on time. Which other cities can't say that.
So speaking of water and gas customers, so there's been a lot of talk about a potential water treatment plant. Why is that so necessary now?
Well, it's been necessary for a while. One of the things that I was asked to do when I got here is to figure out why we're broke. And when I say broke, we were literally, I got a general fund, which is where you pay your police, your firemen, the Parks and Rec, all the stuff that's not utility related, that we take from the general fund. And I inherited a general fund that I was told the only thing I could do is pay salaries, and that was it. I couldn't spend any money on anything else because there was no money. Water and sewer were no better. They were basically on the brink of not making any money. And it turns out, when I first got here, the water rate was $4.18 per 1,000 gallons. And I went back and that away for 20 years since they lowered it from 5.18 to 4.18. Well, the problem with that is if you set a rate and you leave it alone and you're not adjusting for inflation, back in those years, the average inflation rate was 2.1%. So over 20 years, the price of everything has gone up 42%, including making water. You have to add chemicals. You have to have electricity. You have to have all the things that you normally do for operations. But what was happening was that the commission in the city was burning through the depreciation using it as an operating cost. So instead of setting money aside to fix problems as they occur, which is why depreciation is set the way it's set up, they weren't doing it. They had no money to do any of that because they were using it as a operating cost. So there was a problem right there. And the other problem was the plant when I got here was 62 years old. I think it's almost 70 years old now since I've been here 8 years. Average useful life of a water plant is about 50 years. So we have a water plant that has pumps that go out all the time, that has electrical stuff. There's parts on our water plant that you can't buy anymore. That's how old it is. It's kind of like, getting one of those old resistor tubes on one of the old TVs. They just don't have those things anymore, so you can't replace it with fresh. So we have basically duct tape and baling wire holding this plant over here. And it's so bad that when I approached, like I was trying to fix most things, when I approached an engineer about it, I was have come days at the time, they said, there's nothing we can do to make this thing better. You have to put in a sedimentation basin, which to pre-treat the water before it actually gets into the filters, because it's designed to be backwash about every 24 minutes it's out. Our water can backwashes sometimes every 30 minutes, but on an average between 1 to 3 hours. And what that means is we take all this water, we just treat it with chemicals, all the electricity, all making it just perfect, and we turn around and we have to flush the filter and get rid of all the contaminants because that's how bad the filter is, or the delicate filter system is. It was great technology for way back when, but now it's not. Because as the EPA and others have adjusted their tolerance and their limits for stuff that they think is potable water, nothing has changed with that plant technology-wise. So we constantly have to add more chemicals and more as they call it, just to try to filter and get all the stuff out. But every 3 hours, 1 to 3 hours, we take all that stuff and just made it flush it. So a plant that's designed, in this case, a maximum is 900,000 gallons. We're averaging about half of that, 450,000 gallons a day, but we're running it anywhere from 21 to 22 hours a day because that's how inefficient it is. Eventually, and as I told the commissioners, we're going to run out of hours in a day. We're going to have to start rationing, which we do. Every time we take a shower, stop washing stuff, start using paper plates and stuff because they're 82% of that pool of all of our systems. So we get more bang for the buck by telling them to stop than we would be telling our citizens to stop doing what most of us are.
So if we think going the way we're going, we do not create a new power plant, we can look forward to potential of water rationing.
Oh yeah. And I announced that way back when. Yeah. What I did was,
I don't know if the view,
but okay. Well, I convinced the commissioners. I said, look, we need a new water plant. This is what it's going to cost. This is what the depreciation is. Now, this was back in 2008. They said, you know what? You're right. And one reason they said they're right because I poured in some more engineers. I told the presidents that the rates were going to go up a certain amount, which equated about an extra $600,000 a year. And they said, time out. We can't afford that. We're going to send you an engineer along with a state rep to come down and look at your plant. And we're going to tell you what you need to do to fix it to make it right. Because we don't need a new plant. You don't need any of this stuff. So I said, come on down. It'll be the fifth engineer that told us, we need a new plant. So the guy from the state came in from the Tennessee Department of Corrections, the prison guy that paid his utilities. Came in and basically said, I got an engineer. We're going to walk around here. And of course, he was about this tall. Of course, he did everything that tapped you on the head and said, we'll take care of it. So he walks in and they walk around the plant. And I'm standing over with Austin Clark, our former public works director. We're listening to him. And the engineer that he brought from the state looked at the guy and he goes, I don't like making water. That's how bad it is. He didn't know how we were actually making water because of the system of the things that we're using and the antiques that are still over there that will probably be put on display in some public case down the road. So anyway, a fifth engineer came in and says you needed a plan. So as part of that, TDOC stepped up and they have given us $3 million for building that new plant. So not only know they recognize that it's bad, they gave us some upfront money, and they gave us the upfront money because I told them, I said, you could pay me now, you can pay me later. And they said, what do you mean by that? I said, you're 82% of our business. So as we charge rates, once we build a new plant to cover our loans and our depreciation and everything else, 82% of that money is coming from the state. It's your guys. So you're going to own it. You're going to own, whether you give us money up front to build it or whether you pay us on the back end, you're still going to pay for that. Water plant.
All right. So
and never deal with that. Never done that.
So TDOC, Tennessee Department of Corrections, has already pledged $3 million for us.
Yes.
How much is it going to cost in total to build this?
Well, that's another interesting story because as we're talking 2018, right?
Right.
They were estimated to be about, first it was like 7.3 million. Then it went to 9.3 million. So you start stretching it out through COVID and all of a sudden inflation just went through the roof of the cost of materials. And it was up to, I think, 21.2 million at latest estimates, right? So we found out, we were engineering about a new type of plant. It's called a ceramic membrane plant. You don't need a sedimentation basin. You don't even need a backwash basin. So you're not taking all your good product and pushing it. It's outside of Vicksburg, Mississippi. We went down there in the summer, actually late spring. And it costs about half as much as what a conventional type water plant that they would build nowadays, if it does, for half the cost. So there's a container that's been over there for about 3 months now that we've been running water out of the river into this little, they call it a pipe, basically just to see if it would work with our type of water system. And it does. And it looks great. So we're now estimating the plant's going to be about 12 million. We got $2 million through the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. And we got another $6 million from the state because we're losing for getting rid of these what they call PFAS, plastic systems.
Yeah.
That's $6 million. So we're at right about $11 million right now. And then the SRF, the state revolving fund folks, will give us a loan for whatever's remaining. And it really depends on what the bill is and how much are going to spend. So it's interesting. We're kind of where we're going. And as far as the water rates go, as far as the water fund goes, back then we had set the rate from $4.18 to, I think it was $7.80 per 1,000 gallons, which would have covered what we needed to build a plant back on. We're at $6.85 right now. When the dust settles, it's all said and done. It's coming probably pretty close to that 7.8. It's between 7.50 and 8 is the sweet spot to cover our depreciation, to cover the new water plant. Our depreciation costs for the old plant, but some of that will go away. So it's not an add on top of it. The fact that we run it 8 to 10 hours a day versus 21 hours a day, that's a one full-time equivalent person. It's sad to see somebody go that's been a part of the team, but we provide services. I've been beaten down in the ground ever since I've been here. We don't provide jobs. We provide service. We're a government service provider. We provide water. We provide police protection. We provide fire protection. All these things are provided, but we're doing it in the most effective and efficient way we can, which is why we have eliminated a whole bunch of stuff which is wasting money. That's why we have a general fund that we can actually buy things. We go through grants. Since I've gotten here, we've gotten over $20 million in grants and cost of about $1.8 million, but it's right about 7 cents on the dollar. So, and I tell people, so, well, you're spending all this money or we're almost bankrupt. We got twice as much money in the bank now as we did. And it's not because we're collecting more taxes or whatever. I mean, the tax rate went up $1 at one point in time. We said that we lower it based on what the liquor store revenues would be if they got that passed, which we did. But it went from $1 now to 90 cents. I think Waynesboro is 30, Collinwood is 2 something. The county's $3, and you probably know better than I will pay the county tax. It's 7 cents on the dollar.
Where does the city get revenue from such a small city to be able to?
There's several revenue sources for the general fund. One is property tax, one is local option sales tax, and there's a beer tax and that tax. There's other things like that. You get $80, $40, $50,000 a year for traffic violations, stuff like that. It was averaging about, did I say 24,000 or did I say 28 for it? Yeah, it was averaging about half of that, about 24,000 a year. Now, all the revenue for the water, sewer, and gas, those are what they call enterprise funds. They have to operate on their separate from the city. They even pay what they call a pilot payment in lieu of tax or ad valorem tax based on their signature, their footprint, and all the water lines and gas lines. So they have to pay taxes every year to the city. They have to generate enough money to pay the people that run it, pay for the chemicals and everything else that goes along with it. And the state kind of gets in probably where you want to talk to. The state watches that.
Yeah.
And if right now their line in the sand is if you are red 2 years in a row, red being you lose money, the state will come in and set your rates for you. I have never had anybody come in and do my job, and I refuse to. But I have to advise the people that make decisions in here, and I give them all the information they need. If they may choose to do other things, then I have done my job. And I can go home and sleep in. I know enough done my job. So the latest thing was, we had an audit, a draft audit come in October. John pulls our auditor. He says, oh, by the way, guys, you lost money in water and your sewer and gas to a tune of $285,000 in the water and I think a little over $50,000 in the gas. Without rhyme or reason, they voted for one increase and they voted no for the other. Using the same logic. Exact same logic, they voted no on one and yes on another. And that was in November, just after we had a new commissioner come here. And I basically like that. I brought it up again in December. So look, we only had 6 months because once you set the rate, once you're in a fiscal year, our fiscal year starts July 1st. And then it's June 30th. That is where you have to show at least a profit. Even if it's $1, show a profit in your enterprise funds. Well, we're at a point now where we try to get it in November so we can catch December, get it 7 months down the road so we at least make up for some of that.
Yeah.
And they said no, and they said no again. And if they want to bring it up in January, by the time we get it into an ordinance, unless we have a special meeting, that'll be February, and you have to have 2 readings, so it's probably March. And then you have to go read for the next 30 days of water. So you're only going to get maybe 2 months out of it, maybe 3, and that's not enough to cover a year's worth of revenue to cover the losses. So here's what it is.
When do you think you're going to get approval to build this water plant once holding everything down?
Well, so right now they got to redesign it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this one. I signed that one earlier. They got to redesign the plant. Basically, it's not a whole lot of work other than moving a sedimentation basin, a backflow basin, adding some more lines here and there. But the footprint is actually smaller in this new plant than it would be the old plant, and therefore it costs a lot less. Building's still going to be there. The skids that come in are still going to be there, but for the most part, it's going to be. And my day make water, I push a button.
Nice.
And when I'm done, I push a button, turn it off, and then I go home. It's going to be very boring, actually, for whoever's running it. So, but I take that back. It's technology, like anything else. As long as you have electronics and things that can glitches and stuff for what happened, and then you just simply do reboot it. Just like you do.
And you're leaving in May?
May 2nd is my last day. Yep.
Any thoughts of maybe extending a little bit?
Nope. I submitted my letter of resignation in September or October. I don't see eye to eye with some of the folks that are sitting in another room, and a lot of them want to do my job and want to run the day-to-day operations. So I'm not going to do it. I'm a military man. After 34 years, give me a command. I'm going to command. I will take advice and I will take counsel and other things. And I'm not always right. I've had some great ideas come from outside sources, and we take them if it's good and we run with it. But if there's things that I know don't work because they don't work, I'm not going to do them. So
in the next 5 months, do you have any other plans for the river line that you're going to work on executing before you're before you're done?
Well, we were in the middle of community development block grant season. We just finished one out, and that was with the benches and sidewalks and playground footing and that kind of stuff out in the park. So we're on tap to find another project, and I'm not sure. I feel at this point, if I make a recommendation, then it'll be no. If I'm against something, it'll be a yes. So maybe I need to tell you all the things I don't want to happen,
Right.
and then they'll say yes on it. So it's come to that. It really is. It's come to that. There's all decisions, and I am a person that's considered to be politically neutral when it comes to running the city, and I have to be. I can't pick a sides on politics. I have to do what's in the best interest of the city, both financially, for the citizens, and for everybody else. And I really don't care who's in charge. Right? That's not my job. My job is to give them the information they need to make decisions when they need their help. And at this point, it seems like everything I say is just the opposite. So I'm good with it.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time with us. Hopefully, you can circle back and we can like sit down in an actual podcast environment and do a rapid fire. Oh, is it true that the city attorney also tendered his resignation?
Yes, he walked his resignation over in the November meeting. It says my last day is the second.
Okay. Clifton's up for some changes in May.
It depends on who they hire, and that will make it or break it. There's a lot of identity politics going on. And I'll call it what it is. You know what identity politics is, right? We have to hire somebody because they're from Clifton. Or they're, you know what I'm saying? Once you start identifying somebody as being qualified based on where they live, it's no different to say we're not hiring anybody from, or we're not hiring somebody because they're 65. So there's protections even in the hiring process for those that are interviewing.
Right.
And if they come in and you know, they got a master's degrees, they're working at $250 million budget, or they have 500 people working for them at their last place. Oh, right. Or they're complicit. That's what we got. You have to hire the best qualified candidate, period, because there's protections. So if I come in and I can go out and I might go, who did they hire? Who the hell is that? And how were they qualified? That's usually an indicator that they didn't hire anybody else.
Well, I do see that non-discriminatory basis without regard to race, color, religion, sex, disability, international origin.
You got it.
Then you should put birthplace on that as well.
Doesn't matter. Bar head back there that they, I'm going to push my head through the wall as hard as I can. That's how I'm going to make that door. But that's what they're going to do. And people are Clifton will say that's the case. I'm hoping that there's going to be enough qualified people walking in the door that they will do something that's what I can't predict.
Right.
I can just advise or recommend. By the way, you can ask them how old they are. You can ask all these questions you want to ask. They have nothing to do with their ability to do this job. So we'll see how it goes.
And who makes the decision on who gets the next position as city manager?
That is the one job in the charter that they have full rights to do. They have to hire whoever's going to take my place, and they cannot touch that person for a year. In other words, they have to leave them alone and let them do the job for a year. Now, if that person goes out and is in a crash and kills somebody or drives drunk or buys drugs on the street, whatever, that's different. Then that's for cause. They can say, yeah, you need to go away. The same thing with commissioners. I mean, they're not protected either. It's because they're voting in, they can't go out because they do something stupid or everything they get called on. So absolutely. But yeah, it's up to them. They get to make that decision, and they're protected for a year by the charter for being fired. Just because they don't like it, or trust them. Yeah. So that's why I love the city managers get contracts.
So thank you, Doug, so much for taking time to yourself.
I'm an open door when it comes to something that's going on. There's some things I cannot talk about when it comes to litigation. For the most part, you'll look at it.
Good deal.